I got a plan for the Dolphins.
All right, let's hear it.
And this is a genuine attempt to put this team in a position to actually evaluate Malik Willis, who's on a 3-year contract with $45 million guaranteed. And then if Malik doesn't work, at least you have somewhat of a foundation that a new quarterback, if he gets drafted to you in the top 5 next year, could at least be excited to go there. Because, like, you look at the Raiders, the Raiders at least have Brock Bowers and they have Ashton Genty.
Right.
For a new quarterback to walk in there, sure, they need help at wide receivers. But for Fernando Mendoza, it's not as if you're walking in, you go, oh, I got absolutely nothing around you.
Like the Giants, right? You would agree. The Giants. And I know that situation.
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors and, the guy who doesn't think concussions are real.
Cam Scatterboom.
I realize that, that situation's kind of in flux now because of the injuries. But in theory, that's what you want, right? Like talent around a quarterback who may or may not pan out.
Yeah, like something that you could just say, okay, I got a chance. It's not that I'm going to go to this organization. Let's be real. The Raiders haven't had a quarterback in forever. The Dolphins haven't had a quarterback since Marino. So there's a perception that you got to break. But at least you could look around and you could say, okay, there are some concepts of a plan here. Like I remember, even though Malik Neighbors got hurt, Jackson Dart walked in, and I was there the night that he beat the Eagles, and I was talking to him after the game, and you could tell he wasn't focused on the past of what happened with this organization. He was focused on the present, right. And he felt like he had some resemblance of a shot to succeed there. So with the 11th pick in the draft, could you go offensive lineman? Yes. Can I sit here and be like, if Francis Mauigoa is there, or Spencer Fano's there, or Freeling is there, or like Caden Proctor's there, take him, sure. I could give you that take. And building the offensive line is so important, but I think you got to go get a legitimate playmaker there. And some people may say, oh, is Carnell Tate going to fall? Or if it's not Carnell Tate, do you go Jordan Tyson? Mekhi Lemon would intrigue me. If they take Mekhi Lemon, if he's there at 11, I would not scream about it. I would not bitch about it. I would not complain about it. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. I know people are going to say, you can't take a tight end that early. Look how many game-changing tight ends there are in the NFL right now where you're basically a slot wide receiver. Kenyon Sadiq is a physical freak, and he's someone that I'm having a draft crush on, and that could be, I'm not saying he's as good as this player, but you're Brock Bowers, right? In that kind of theory of what the Raiders are doing. And I was talking to Tony Pauline the other day, and I thought this was interesting because I didn't think he would grade this high. Kenyon Sadiq, in his estimation, grades higher than Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren a year ago in his draft evaluation. That was Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports. So with the 11th overall pick, here's step one, Kenyon Sadiq.
I like what you just said there. And I used to have Tony Pauline on years ago. So I genuinely, I think the guy knows his bleep. That last line you just said really interests me, where he graded higher than some of the tight ends that came in and were immediate impacts already.
I was shocked when he said, and I'm a stan, as the kids would say, of Kenyon Sadiq. I thought the world of Tyler Warren coming out of college. I couldn't believe Tony Pauline said that.
And the Dolphins should have had him. Dolphins could have had him.
Oh, yeah, they could have. Instead, they drafted Kenneth Grant.
Kenneth Grant, which, that could still end up being a decent pick.
Yeah, he was a good player at Michigan.
But, the idea that you were going all in last year, I know the Dolphins were far from it, but there was this idea they were going all in last year. And, of course, they play the Colts in the first game. And, of course, they just get run off the field. And Kenneth Grant, he didn't really make an impact until middle of the season, if that. Okay, I mean, I don't think there's a chance in hell the Dolphins take a tight end. I think there's too many holes to fill on that defense, and I think they desperately need to figure out the offensive line. But I don't hate where your head is at. I don't hate it.
I'm not saying he's going to be this good, but if I tell you the Dolphins could get Kelsey or Kittle or a Laporta or a Bowers, you would take that with the 11th pick.
Sign me up 100%, especially knowing you have a quarterback who doesn't have weapons.
Or Trey McBride even, right? Trey McBride is exceptional.
Sign me up. You literally have a quarterback right now with no weapons other than Devon Achane.
I'm very curious about this, and I'm going to do this on the fly, so hopefully it loads. Yeah, there we go. Kenyon Sadiq, according to Lance Zierlein, who's been doing this for a long time. I always love Lance Zierlein's draft evaluations. You go on NFL.com, you type in the player's name, he gives you a player comp. His player comp is Trey McBride. The last 2 years, Trey McBride has been as good as any tight end in the NFL.
Yep.
If you could get a Trey McBride on this team on a rookie contract, even if Malik Willis doesn't work, you draft Arch Manning next year or Dante Moore the next year or Julian Sayin the next year, they would be excited to play with the player like Kenyon Sadiq. I preface this by saying it's a risk because he got better as it did go on this past year at Oregon, but it's not like you look at his stats and you're blown away by the career of Kenyon Sadiq. That's a name that's rising quick, and if the Dolphins could get him at 11, you don't know how the rest of the board is going to go. I think that would be a name of interest. I got one more name for you for 30. Do you want me to give it on the other side? Do you want me to tease?
Tease. Give me an old school radio tease. But you know what? You've got me a little bit. I hadn't even thought about the Dolphins. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, Gelb. Like I haven't looked at tight ends. I don't do the draft board stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'll default to you on this.
I'm a college football junkie.
But you're selling me on this idea of going with a tight end who is expected to be as good as some of the other guys. I could go for that.
See, this is why I get asked to fill in on this show. Because I should be getting paid for tomorrow's show. Because Solana then tomorrow is going to run this idea past Hockman and Crowder, and that's going to be an hour of content for you.
You have no idea because this is now my take. You
already stole a take from Crowder texting me. You're Devon Achane. He should hold out. That was a Crowder take. He texted me about it. Not happy with you.
I have commandeered your take. It is now my take. Thank you very much.
Kenyon Sadiq at 11 for the Dolphins. I'm going to give you 3 possibilities at 30.
Okay.
At 30, when we come on back, it's Hockman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb for the boys right here on WQAM. All righty. I got to follow up on my tease here, or else I wouldn't be doing my job.
Although you're fixing the Dolphins, and people on the text line hate it because nobody wants a tight end. But go ahead, Gelb. Give me.
Well, it's fine.
Your next pick.
You guys don't know what it's like to win build a winning football team. I do.
That's right. Yeah, big bad Patriots fan. Tell me about how to rebuild your organization. What you guys have? 62 yards in the Super Bowl. The flukiest AFC title championship in the history of the NFL. It's just a disgrace that the Patriots won the AFC this year.
Okay, so there was a fluke then that the Miami Heat got to the championship with Jimmy Butler when they were in the play-in tournament then.
Not at all.
Do you see how stupid that sounds? Do you see how stupid you sound?
Wasn't a fluke at all. We beat the number 1 overall seed and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then we beat the New York
Injuries.
Knicks. We disposed of your stupid Knicks. And had it not been for Josh Hart taking out Jimmy Butler with that dirty-ass play, Jimmy Butler would have won an NBA title that year.
Solana, we know your contrived rants here. I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to lend a helping hand. Kenyon Sadiq at 11.
Okay.
Now, this is not that creative. But at 30, I think there's 3 names that if one of them are there, you take them.
Okay.
3 wide receivers. It's all about, I know people are going to say offensive line this, offensive line that, and I get that's how you build a football team. But you just traded away Jalen Waddle. You got to replace Jalen Waddle with a weapon. So that's why I'm going Kenyon Sadiq and then replace him with another weapon. And you're building from the outside in where you should probably build inwards out. But it's about giving Malik Willis an opportunity to succeed while he is mobile. And then if he doesn't work, then you go get your quarterback in the draft and you can spend in free agency to go help out the offensive line. The 3 names at wide receiver that I think have a chance to be available at 30. Denzel Boston out of Washington. Which, by the way, Lance Zierlein, I'm just going to give you his player comp, has him comped to Puka Nacua. Casey Concepcion, who I'm a big fan of.
Sign me up.
If he's there at 30, Lance Zierlein has him compared to Doug Baldwin. And then Omar Cooper Jr., Lance Zierlein has him compared to Deebo Samuel. If you walk away at 11 and 30 with Kenyon Sadiq at 11, and then either Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, or Omar Cooper Jr., those are 2 weapons for the future. And you paid Devon Achane. You paid Devon Achane. Then you go sign an offensive lineman in free agency next year, and you have Arch Manning or Julian Sayin or whoever the quarterback may be next year for the Dolphins.
So, first of all, I love Casey Concepcion. And
I'm already better at my job than Chris Greer ever was at his job.
I mean, you set the bar very low. I love Casey Concepcion for 2 reasons. One, he won me an NCAA title at NCAA 25 last year. I love that dude. I was the NC State Wolfpack, and that guy was an effing monster. And 2, he's from Rochester, New York, which I have family from.
Oh,
so
really?
Sign me up for Casey
tour
Concepcion.
we could go on.
Yeah, let me know. Greece Athena, baby. Let me know. So I love Casey Concepcion, and no joke, dude's a baller. Like, he was awesome at Texas A&M last year. Gelb, Dolphins fans are going to be losing their mind if you have 2 first-round picks and they're both going to weapons on the offense. But I'll tell you what, I like your plan because you have a boatload of second and third-round picks. You're picking 7 times on day 2. That's where you should be finding your big guys. That's where you should be building the trenches. That's where you should be spending your draft capital at kind of bulking up your team. If there's weapons out there to be had, I'm not opposed to getting them if they're legitimately good weapons.
Yeah, and that's a thing. The Dolphins should be in a position where you're drafting the best player available. And you got to, if you grab an offensive lineman, let's say at 11, and then a defensive player at 30, how are you going to accurately view Malik Willis this year when Devon Achane could get traded before the start of the season? Like, if they trade Devon Achane even during the start of the season or midway through the season, how are you evaluating the quarterback? You got to get him some weapons.